Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Mayor Ted Betancourt. Nice to have all of you here. I'd like to call the Peabody School Committee regular meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, January 27, 2026, and we are beginning our meeting tonight at 7:06 p.m. at our usual location at the Higgins Middle School Library here on Perkins Street. A couple of items to mention before we go into our list today. We have, as always, we're being broadcast on Peabody TV, and the minutes of the meeting are being taken by our recording secretary, Laura Bowe. And also, as typical, when we go to public participation, anybody in the audience would certainly be welcome to come forward and speak. If there's somebody that would like to join us remotely, Dr. Vidala, just please indicate and we can bring them into the meeting as well. But a lot to cover tonight, and again, great to have all of you here. We're going to start our meeting today with a moment of silence. Then we're going to go right into the Pledge of Allegiance. We have some special guests from the West School here that we're going to introduce in a moment. But I'd like to start off the meeting with a moment of silence, and it's a special dedication to the moment of silence today. And I'd like to turn it over to School Committee Member Pam Millman for some words today.
Thank you, Mayor Betancourt. So today, never again is not a slogan, it's a commitment. And today is International Holocaust Remembrance Day, 81 years since the liberation of Auschwitz-Birkenau. This day calls on us to reflect on what we are teaching the next generation about how the Holocaust happened and why its lessons remain urgently relevant. This day asks the international community not only to honor the millions of victims, but also to confront the conditions that allowed such atrocities to occur. Remembrance is not only about the past, it's a vital tool for prevention, one that resists falsehoods, affirms historical truths, and strengthens our abilities to recognize the early warning signs of hatred, exclusion, and mass violence. By remembering the Holocaust, we reaffirm our shared responsibility to defend human dignity and universal human rights and to oppose racism, discrimination, and dehumanization in all its forms. With that commitment in mind, I invite you all to join us in a moment of silence.
Thank you, and thank you, Pam, for those beautiful words. Well said. And now we're going to do the Pledge of Allegiance, and we're going to be led by the West School students, and I'm going to come up and stand with all of you as we do this together. Well, that was great. Well done. All right, so if there's no objection, I'd like to go out of order on the agenda today and go to item 4.1 under the superintendent's report so that we can bring forward the West School students now. If there's no objection, we'll go right to the superintendent's presentation for the first item. Dr. Vidala, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mayor Betancourt. We are very happy today to have the West Elementary School students with us today. We have a number of parents here. Thank you, parents, for braving the cold weather and coming out. And we're very proud of our students who are before us today. I want to thank Principal Julie Broughton and Assistant Principal Harolyn Fusil, who are here on behalf of the West School and bringing our students forward. So I will bring up your presentation, and you can come right up nice and close and let us know about the great things that are going on at the West Elementary School.
Okay, well, first I want to thank you for having us and the opportunity to share all the wonderful things we are doing. I do have a few slides I want to go to, but I promise to be quick so we can get to the students who are the highlight of the presentation. So to start, I just want to quickly go through our school population. We're at about 290 students, grades K to 5, and we have 2 Pasos classrooms as well. We are home to the TLC program, which is our therapeutic program in the city. Those students as well are mainstream for large parts of the day, including lunch, recess, specials, science, social studies, any enrichment activities, and many for ELA or math or writing. We have a strong PTO that we're proud of, a partnership with them and the community partnerships, and a very dedicated school council. Some of the areas of focus for this year for us has been building a sense of belonging within our school for students and families. We're excited to start Wayfinder this week. It was supposed to be Monday, but we'll start tomorrow. We're excited for that. We have a lot of opportunities for involvement for our students. Our 5th grade leadership team, which has taken on more of a kindness ambassador role this year. We started a 4th grade kindness club. Our basketball teams, Mathnasium Night is coming up in March, and just several PTO events that they put on to build that sense of community. We have a continued focus on our use of HQIM and student ownership of learning, and we're really working hard to build stamina, rigor, and confidence in each learner. Some other areas for celebration, just within our school, we have monthly high five winners, where students are recognized for demonstrating a positive character trait. And we name that trait at the beginning of the month. So for January, it's being trustworthy. And then we really focus on that within the classrooms and identify students who show that trait throughout the month. And they're recognized at the end of every month. Our 5th grade leaders go into the classrooms to read books the first week of the month based on that theme as well. And our overarching theme of the year is to be kind, be confident, and be you. So we try to align all of our things with that. And then we're very proud of our progress in ST Math. We're currently at 59% of journey completion at this point in the year. So just an overall view of building confident learners by supporting every student every day. We try to personalize opportunities for learning through differentiation and scaffolding. We try to support every learner in their needs. We provide enrichment and intervention opportunities. Lexio, for the first time this year, was school-wide, which was a very great initiative for us. And we were very fortunate to have South School teachers come over at one of our staff meetings to talk about how it has worked so well in their school and kind of give us some tips and tricks and how to get it off the ground running. And I think it's been a great addition. Ignite, that has been new to us this year. We have currently 17 students in that program. Actually, we just had one graduate from the program, so we'll be able to fill someone in from the wait list. So we're very excited about that as well. ST Math continues to be a highlight. The students love GG. I even have one in my window. So we continue to thrive on that program, and then just different activities as they come along as needed. For example, we had center school teachers come over, talk about some write-in strategies that they've been using in the school to work. So I think that collaboration with other schools and teachers really helps to grow. And then the high quality instructional materials, HQIM, working with those diligently throughout the year. And then the student ownership of learning, we really pride ourselves on the collaboration and elaboration with students working together, trying to explain their thinking. We've learned a lot from Michael McDowell this year about different strategies we can learn to build that student ownership in academic discourse, and so we're really taking those strategies and we're seeing them a lot in the classroom. The rigorous instruction, just embedded with instruction opportunities for goal setting, reflection, choices, and challenge. We're going to share some of our write-in challenges today, so you'll get to see that in action. And just being the best overall version of yourself. School-wide core values include being kind, being confident, and being you. And we believe you need that to grow both academically, socially, and emotionally. So just again, I'm going to turn it over to the students, I promise, but the school-wide focus, we just really want to stress that we're trying to foster a sense of belonging for all, because we truly believe when students feel a sense of belonging, they are ready to engage, learn, achieve, and succeed. So I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Fusil, and she's going to talk about the next slide.
So we thought, what a better way to exemplify what our students feel about a sense of belonging than to share that with you in their own words. So the first student is Adrian, a second grade student. He says, "I know that I belong at the West because people are so kind and nice. It is so fun to be at the West School because I can make new friends, feel included with my classmates, and by the teachers too." Our next student is Elle. She's a fifth grade student. "First, to know that I am accepted makes me feel like I belong. I like knowing that people look at me for who I am on the inside, not on the outside. Also, everyone is understanding, and I know that I have trusted people I can go to. The teachers are trustworthy and will help you through anything, and my friends are trustworthy and kind too." Our third student is Monica, another fifth grade student. She says, "I like that my friends care about me. If I'm feeling sad, they always ask me how they can help. The teachers at the West School also make me feel like I belong because they help me work through things when I need it. This makes me feel happy and included." No truer words can be spoken than directly from their mouths. And next we wanted to move on to something that is now in its second year. This is our second annual West School Winter Writing Challenge. And we developed this challenge last year to provide students with an opportunity to extend their learning from academic-based content in our classrooms to more of a creative challenge by choice outside of school. This year's prompt was, if you were a snowflake and you were fluttering down from the sky, where would you land and how would you know that you would belong there at the West School? There were 3 different prompts tailored to our K and 1 students, 2 and 3, and 4 and 5. And they were just tailored to meet their specific levels of readiness. So our kindergarten and first grade students had an opportunity to draw a picture and write a couple of sentences to explain how they would know that they belong. Our second and third grade students built upon that, and our fourth and fifth grade students had an opportunity to run even further than that and elaborate with detail as they desired so. So without any further ado, I would like to turn this over to our students who really are the heart of the spotlight tonight. And we're going to start with Anthony Anise, one of our kindergarten students.
Give me 1 minute. I'm going to give you this. And then I'm going to make sure it's good. So when you're ready, you can read, okay?
The falling snowflake. Hi, I am Anthony, the tiny snowflake. I was falling from the sky. I landed on a boy named Mikey. I got to go everywhere with him. During the school day, the art room was my favorite. I loved my day at the West because everyone was so nice. I knew that I belonged there.
John, nice job. All right, next we have Natalia, one of our first graders.
Once upon a time, there was a blizzard coming to the West School. I was a tiny snowflake blowing in the wind. I landed at the first grade door. There I saw Miss Molly and my friends. We're playing in the snow. They were excited to see me and invite me to play with them. That made my heart so happy. Together we built a wildcat out of snow, went sledding, and made snow angels. We had so much fun showing our school spirit.
All right, next we have second grader Jordan.
Hi, my name is Jordan Song, and this is my winter writing challenge, and the story is called A Learning Snowflake. I am a snowflake drifting down to West School. I get there and go right into a long hall. The first place I land is in a classroom. The number of the classroom is 9. I saw a bunch of books and I got excited. I saw the teacher, and she was very nice. Her name was Mrs. Bresnahan. She told me what we were learning about that day. Then I sat on the rug and got stuck. A nice friend helped me. After that, I felt much more included, and that made me feel happy. Then it was time to go. I said bye to everyone I met on this long, exciting day. That was the end of my wonderful day at the West School. I also said bye to my teacher and said, see you tomorrow. I cannot wait to come back to this school because I know that I belong here.
Okay, next we have second grader Lucas.
One winter day, I fell from the sky into a vent at the gym at the West School. The vent led me all the way to the gym. When I opened the vent, I met tons of friends. They were playing a basketball game. One of the friends asked me to join the team. I felt very happy that they included me in the game. As I was playing the game, I learned that all my new friends were in second grade. It was cool because I am also a second grade snowflake. The most exciting thing happened. I scored a basket. Our team took the lead, and everyone was cheering for me. After my shot, the game was almost over. The buzzer went off, and the game was over. Then both of the teams were shaking hands. Our team won, and the score was 90-10. I felt like I belonged in the gym at the West School because I felt comfortable, and I felt that I was where I could be myself. That was a fun winter adventure.
Next we have fourth grader Thomas.
Title is Kindness in Sight. Hello there, I am Thomas. I am a falling snowflake about to land on the top of a school. What school, you may ask? Well, it's a good one. It's the West. You could ask, what do I see? Well, there's kindness in sight and a spot fit for me. I see happy children learning with glee. I see the kids' kindness shining, for it's so bright that I'm smiling. Then I start to wonder about the grown-ups. Not just are the children working hard, but so are the teachers. And you know what they say, a teacher teaching a day keeps a good brain to stay. I see the kindergartners playing with fun, but they're learning too, shining in sun. People are working really hard, and recess time is not far. During recess, there's kindness in sight, playing and shining like a star. The teachers are here, keeping mind clear, so kids can learn and get what they earn. I'm still so high in the sky, with more to learn and more to find. I found a spot so high in the sky where I fit in watching the kids. I'm in my spot and getting too hot, for my day is over, and I feel lucky like a four-leaf clover. For this school is so nice, there's kindness in sight.
And we have fourth grader Sage.
Once upon a time, there was a snowflake named Sage. Hi, I'm Sage the Snowflake. Let me tell you about my little trip through the West Memorial Elementary School. I was falling down from a cloud when I slid underneath the door. I think it was called the main office. After I slid underneath the main office door, I got up and thought it would be fun to walk around the school. Next thing I knew, I was already walking down the hallway. I stopped upon two first graders having a disagreement, but soon after they apologized to each other and hugged to move forward. I walked some more and stumbled across a little girl who was sitting by herself in her recess, until another girl walked by and talked to her. The girl who seemed lonely at first smiled, and they went to go play together. They both looked so happy. After that, I walked some more. Now I stumbled upon a fourth grader. He was new to our school and had not made any friends yet, until someone walked over to him and said, "Hi, my name is Bill." Bill had been in the school for 3 years already. Now the new student had a friend, Bill. I walked a bit more and exited the school. When I left, I realized what West Memorial was really about. It is about being kind, inclusion, the golden rule, and spreading that kindness everywhere. So if you ever feel different, just know that it is okay to be different. Everyone is different and unique, just like a snowflake.
Thank you, Paige.
So thank you for sharing in some of that celebratory writing that we are so proud to showcase from the West School. One of the other pieces that goes along with our writing challenge is that to celebrate this, we had 63 students choose to participate in this challenge. They took this challenge home on a Friday, they completed it over the weekend and brought them back on a Monday. And one of our big ongoing conversations throughout the district and our school has been, how do we truly create that sense of belonging for our students? And we believe it's about relationships and personal connections at the heart of all of this. So every single student that participated, there are 5 more that are desperately waiting on their little postcards from me, but received a personalized note written back with something highlighting a feature from their writing that stood out or brought a smile to my face or to Mrs. Broughton's face. And, you know, it was something to share and celebrate. So we took our learning beyond the classroom and really allowed our students an opportunity to shine with their creativity. And again, we want to thank you for sharing in that excitement with us.
Well, thank you, and I want to say to each of the students, your writing was excellent, and you all spoke so well, and it was great to have you here and to be able to listen to your words. So, very well done. One more round of applause for our students. That was great. Those were terrific. Any questions for our West School team? Anybody have any questions or anything? Mr. Olympio?
I just want to thank you all. You've done a tremendous job, and honestly, I think us adults, when we're feeling a little down on what's going on in the world, I think we need to visit the West School and our elementary schools to really just, it warms the heart. You guys hope for the future, and just keep up the great work. I just love how you're so welcoming and just encouraging students. The one thing that stuck out to me was when you see a student that might not be having a great day, maybe being a little quiet, how you take the initiative to see, what's going on and being a real friend. So that warms my heart and gives us all hope. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Olympio. Mrs. Dunn?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just have a couple questions for the students. First off, I know you wrote these essays probably a couple of weeks ago at least.
Martin Luther King weekend.
Okay, so it was before today and yesterday. So, how did you feel being a snowflake in your essays? Was it fun? Thomas? Yeah? Okay, all right.
Were you getting ready for a snowstorm?
No, it was before all the snow, for sure.
Did you ever think we would see probably 1 million snowflakes in the last couple of days? No. I actually think the piles of snow in my driveway are taller than every single one of you. They're taller than me, so I know it's taller than all of you.
I wish it was only 1 million snowflakes.
Okay.
I wish.
Forgot to ask the mayor.
Oh.
Oh, but this was so nice to hear what you had to say, and you were so descriptive. You know, it was really fun to hear it because you could picture a snowflake coming down and, playing basketball, landing on the roof, all the things you talked about. So thank you very much, and I hope you had a good time, and probably have a lot more to write about snow after today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunn. Any other comments or questions? All right. Oh, Mrs. Cox. Ms. Cox?
I just wanted to take a second and commend the administration at the West for reaching out and really building that collaboration between the South School when you're talking about, learning different subject matters and how to grow within your own community. I think it's a really great opportunity that should continue to flourish across school, like all of our elementary schools, to have everyone working together and sharing their knowledge. So really nicely done.
Thank you. We try to do that. I know all the other schools are doing amazing things. So when something's working at one school, it is great to be able to share it. So.
Great, thank you. All right, can we take a picture before?
Yes, please.
All right, we take a picture. Okay, thanks, everyone. Now we'll go back to the regular agenda, and we do have some minutes from a couple of meetings. The first meeting, January 5th, 2026, was the inauguration, the organizational meeting, and then also the January 13th, 2026 regular school committee meeting. I'll open those up for discussion and a vote. Mrs. Carpenter?
Motion to accept and approve minutes from January 5th, 2026.
Second.
Thank you. You've heard the motion by Mrs. Carpenter for approval of the January 5th, 2026 minutes, seconded by Mr. Amico. Any comments? Mrs. Millman?
Just to change referencing my name of Mrs. Millman to Miss Millman. Mrs. Millman's my mom.
Great, we can make that change. So the motion will be with that change. So amended. Seconded by Mrs. Dunn, thank you. All right, roll call vote for approval, please.
Mrs. Dunn.
Yes.
Mr. Olympio.
Yes.
Ms. Millman.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpenter.
Yes.
Mrs. Cox.
Yes.
Mr. Amico.
Yes.
Motion to approve minutes from January 13th, 2026.
Second.
Okay, thank you. You've heard the motion by Mrs. Carpenter for approval of the January 13th, 2026 regular school committee meeting, seconded by Mrs. Dunn. Any comments? Seeing none, roll call vote for approval, please.
Mrs. Dunn.
Yes.
Mr. Olympio.
Yes.
Ms. Millman.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpenter.
Yes.
Mrs. Cox.
Yes.
Mr. Amico.
Yes. Okay, thank you, Mrs. Carpenter. Next, we'll go to item number 2, approval of bills. We do have 2 warrants today. Mr. Olympio, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve warrant number 6527 dated January 27, 2026, in the amount of $38,959.17, subject to audit.
Second.
Okay, thank you. You've heard the motion by Mr. Olympio for approval of warrant number 6527. It was seconded by Mrs. Carpenter. I'll open that up for discussion and a vote. Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Dunn.
Yes.
Mr. Olympio.
Yes.
Ms. Millman.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpenter.
Yes.
Mrs. Cox.
Yes.
Mr. Amico.
I'd like to make a motion to approve warrant number 6528 dated January 27, 2026, in the amount of $1,506,700 $225.02, subject to audit.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Further motion by Mr. Olympio for approval of warrant number 6528, seconded by Mrs. Carpenter. I'll open that up. Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Dunn.
Yes.
Mr. Olympio.
Yes.
Ms. Millman.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpenter.
Yes.
Mrs. Cox.
Abstain.
Mr. Amico.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Olympio. Next, we're going to go to item number 3, continued business. We have a few different items. We're going to start first with the Peabody Veterans Memorial High School MSBA project update. Mrs. Dunn, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is a busy week for the school building committee and the people working on the high school project. We have received applications from potential OPMs, owners, project managers. Those applications were submitted today, was the deadline. They were received. The members of the selection working group are going to be going through a matrix that is designed to allow us to evaluate each of those companies. We will be ranking them, and then we will be meeting to determine what we'll call a short list of those that we feel are qualified and would like to interview further. Interviews of those businesses will take place next week, and then we will be deciding and making a recommendation on who we feel should be the OPM for the Peabody Veterans Memorial High School building project. So again, it's a very exciting week. It's the end of a rigorous process and then the beginning of an even more rigorous process. So it's a good day right now because a lot of the hard work that's been done is now going to go into high gear. So if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them, but that's where we are right now.
Great, thank you, Mrs. Dunn. And as we've mentioned, 2026 is an important year for the new Peabody Veterans Memorial High School as we start to assemble our team, first with the owner's project manager, which we'll be hiring over the next couple of months, and then following that in the spring into the summer, we'll be selecting after a interview process and following the MSBA requirements, we'll be selecting our architect and design team. And that'll be obviously a very fun stage as we start to look at our options and look at what we're looking to do as a city and as a school district. So as has been mentioned, we are going to be putting together additional subcommittees off of the committee that was formed, the school building committee. And as we look at different branches of this, and there are many, so excited about that and happy to answer any questions on that as well. We'll continue to provide updates as we move along, but 2026 is going to be a big year for us. Any comments or questions at this time? All right, thank you, Mrs. Dunn.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Item number 2 under continued business is the FY27 budget process. Mrs. Dunn, I'll turn it over to you for comments.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I am going to turn it over to the superintendent. One thing that I will encourage all the members to do is we received a copy of the schedule of school council meetings, and I would like to start visiting some of the school councils just to see what they are looking for in the upcoming year, find out what their goals are and their priorities. And if I could, can we have that list sent to us again? That would be great. Okay, thank you. And Dr. Vidala can fill us in more on some timelines with the budget as it goes. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunn. Mr. Mayor, we have this in a couple places. Do you want me just to pull this off of if there's no objection, just pull it out of the superintendent's report and report on it now? I just have a couple slides to go over, and there's a written communication.
If there's no objection to moving in that way, that sounds fine to me. So we'll go to item number 5 under the superintendent, Yes, item number 5 under the superintendent's report, the FY27 budget update. Dr. Vidala?
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So just a couple items on this. Tomorrow we anticipate that the governor's budget will be made public, and that will have the summary of the Chapter 70 amounts for the first round of the budget, as well as the minimum net school spending. So I will present that at the next meeting. So what we have for you tonight, and it is included in the written communications as well, is a document that is the level service budget, which is draft 1. And this continues all the services that we have, all the services and supports for our students and staff that are currently in this year's budget. The salaries are increased in accordance with our collective bargaining agreements, and then what we consider right-sizing areas based on the projected spending. So things like health insurance and transportation and out-of-district tuitions tend to be budget drivers. So if we look at last year's budget that was voted in June, that total amount for the FY26 budget was $99,050,552. And so as we look at draft one, FY27 draft one is at $104,979,890 total. So this represents about a $6 million increase, or 5.99%. And so as we go through what you have in the written communications, this is the top half with all the schools and the locations. You'll see the FY26 voted budget, the total amount, and then you'll see draft one, which is our first draft of this, and the total amounts, and then you'll see the change. The big increase that you'll see within the schools is the Center Elementary School. You may recall that we added a teacher after the budget in August. We were able to do that by reducing in a different place. However, the reallocation of funds and right-sizing the center school, we anticipate that this would be, for the next couple of years, we'll see bigger increases at the center until it comes back online, and we'll see more modest increases. For example, the South School is at 4%. This Carroll School is at 4%, and you saw those had some reductions last year because those were the two schools that had most of the center school students, and as students matriculate back to the center school, we'll see a little bit increases. But overall, we see about a 6% increase in the school budgets, and then if we look at the non-school budgets or the department budgets, including central administration and the virtual school, you'll see we do have a large increase. If you look at the right side, that's the percentage of increase. You see a large increase in utilities, and that is about a 10 or 11% increase to be on the safe side. As we get into the budget, we'll look to see if we can have some offsets from revolving accounts and things like that to bring the number down. But the first draft is representing an 11% increase just with the price of utilities. In central administration, you see a smaller increase, and that is because in the voted budget, we had a large number under the salary reserve, which was for all the locations for increases. Those have now been redistributed back to the locations where we know, so that looks like a more moderate increase. So what we'll do is, for the next school committee meeting, we'll have the first budget books, which is sort of the public budget book. We'll have that ready to go with some changes, and you'll see a little bit more detail, as well as the minimum net school spending requirements. And then after that meeting in February, we anticipate that we'll be able to bring in principals and department heads to review their budgets. I've scheduled individual meetings with the principals over the next couple weeks to go over their local budgets, and then we'll bring them before the committee to talk about what this number is, what the anticipated voted budget might be, and where there's a disconnect if we have to have reductions. So this is just all part of the process. And I'll answer any questions if people have those.
Thank you, Dr. Vidala. We'll open it up for questions or comments at this time. Mrs. Dunn?
I just want to say thank you. Thank you, because I had asked for that, and that's exactly what I asked for, so thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn. Any other comments or questions at this time, Mr. Amico?
Mayor, just wanted to say thank you to Dr. Vidala and to our CFO, Mr. Rippon. We sit on the Finance Committee together. Just the availability of information and the numbers that are present whenever we ask for it at our meetings. I just want to thank you. It just makes our job a little bit easier to see what's coming up, and let's hope for a good number tomorrow. But thank you for all your hard work. Appreciate it.
Great, thank you. And I think everybody knows by now, but it's the governor will present her number tomorrow, and then it will go to the House for their number, the Senate for their number, and then ultimately it goes back to the governor. So there's a process there of a few weeks, and sometimes that slows us down, but we're hoping that we are able to get a sense of where things are so that we can start looking at final numbers and looking at the city and school budget and trying to make it work for everybody. So hopefully we're able to get some of these numbers and start figuring things out. We're also going to be getting later in February our health insurance increase, which is concerning, but we'll be getting that number as well, and that's certainly going to factor in. So hopefully we'll be able to accumulate the information, the numbers, give us a sense of where we are over the next few weeks, and then that'll be in line with the work we do and getting some information from principals and the council teams as well. So that's great that we'll start to at least hopefully get some sense from the governor where things are at.
Yep.
Any other comments or questions at this time? Mrs. Dunn?
Just to let you know, this weekend I'm attending the National School Board Association Equity and Advocacy Institute, and we will be advocating for increased funding from the federal government for education, advocating for some sense regarding the departments and just everything that's going on at the federal level. But on Tuesday, we'll be meeting with each member of the Massachusetts delegation, each of the representatives, as well as the 2 senators. So we have prepared remarks for them specific to the districts, and we'll be talking to them about Peabody and trying to make sure that they understand the impact of cuts and that the federal funding plays a big part in how we operate our districts. So I'll hopefully have some good news when I come back, if they're open when we get there.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn, I know. Thank you. Any other items? All right.
And I'll just thank you very much in everybody's comments. And I'll just finish with saying advocacy is a big piece of the work that we do. And there's a lot of us that advocate, and I just wanted to sort of recognize that our elected officials at the state level, the legislators, Senator Lovely and Representative Tom Walsh and Representative Sally Kearns, have always been very supportive. And I know that this committee does a lot of advocacy through MASC and also locally, as do we with the Superintendent's Association. And I also want to recognize both the teachers union, they do a lot of advocacy, and our parent groups, including CPAC, who we'll hear from in a little bit. We're all doing advocacy, and we're all identifying those areas to continue to get more funding. And this is just the first line in the sand, but it's an important line. And so we'll continue that advocacy, and hopefully we'll be able to come to a number that works for everybody. And I think starting this early is important so that we can all get on the same page and make sure that we have a budget that we can all make sure meets the needs of our staff, students, and families. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Vidala. Next, we'll go back to continued business. Item number 3 is SNAP fundraising. Mrs. Carpenter, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. So in the same vein as money and getting some, we talked last time about helping our students collect some funds that they need, and I was hoping that we were able to wrap something up so they could start collecting. Do we have any report on that?
I can speak to it. I've been working with Treasurer Ross Teitelbaum, and he's trying to find a way to make it work. What we did find out, and we alluded to it, we just didn't think the cut would be as deep as it is. SNAP raise takes 20% of whatever is raised. At this point, Ross is out of the country, and so he's looking to come to school committee to answer your questions directly about what can be done. So that would be, I'd like to get him on the agenda for, or we can carry this, and he'll be there on February 10th.
Thank you. Appreciate that. 20% is a lot to take from our students who are fundraising. Through the chair, Mrs. Dunn, did we hear that Essex Tech used SNAP?
They do, but it's some of the parent groups. It's just like here in Peabody, some of the parent groups are using it, and it's a very difficult situation when you're raising funds for student activities because of the laws that currently exist on how money can be collected and distributed to the students, well, to their groups. Parent groups are in a bit of a different situation, although they are bound by many of the regulations from the Attorney General's office and the Office of Charities. And this is something that is a lot of protections for, not just for the students, but also for the system that we have as far as being able to collect the money and put it into accounts and then be able to account for it. So I think, and knowing, you know, that Mr. Rippon and Mr. Teitelbaum have been meeting and talking about this, it's a very big issue. I actually spoke with Mr. Teitelbaum as well, and he has reached out to Essex North Shore to discuss this with their business manager, and she's faced some of the same issues. So it's really sad. The legislature needs to step in and help because of the way the laws are written.
Thank you. I was just, through the chair, I was just checking to see if they had been successful with it. So I do appreciate the work, and if Mr. Teitelbaum can come to the next meeting, and I just want to say, at no one's fault in this room, it is absolutely ridiculous and absurd that we have this much trouble letting our students fundraise. Like, this is absolutely ridiculous. And again, no one's fault in this room. So I'd like to keep it on. If we can, through the chair, Mayor, can we invite Mr. Teitelbaum for our next school committee meeting?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
And just one thing, two quick things that I'd like to add is, one, SnapRaise is one company. There are other companies that we could certainly vet and check in on. We don't have to be tied to one company, and that healthy competition is important. The second thing, and Mrs. Dunn, thank you for mentioning this, the Essex Tech parents clubs that are using this have their own bank accounts, and so it becomes a simpler transaction when they're partnering as an individual entity, as opposed to the city partnering with the way that we have the restrictions on our accounts. So one option would be, if the committee, we do approve all fundraisers through PTOs and booster clubs and things like that. If the committee were to approve that type of fundraising, we could work with the parent groups immediately, and they could pilot this for us, and then we could continue to work to see if our student activities groups could use this type of fundraiser. But there's less red tape prohibiting PTOs, booster clubs, and things like that. If the committee were to approve those things, I can begin approving those right away because they're going through their bank account, not the city's. So that is one option. If the committee is open to that, we could pilot it through our parent groups because we don't control their bank accounts.
We'll keep that and hold this in committee till February 10th.
Yeah, through the chair, Dr. Vidala. So I think, yeah, I mean, that would be great if it would work, but I think we need more information from that group that came forward as to how many entities are raising money, and I think it's the separation of it. So I want to keep this on continued business and keep moving forward because we're just losing time and they're losing money.
Sounds good. Thank you, Ms. Carpenter.
And Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, Mr. Dunn?
Just one other point, and I may have misunderstood, but was the Student Advisory Board seeking to be able to raise the funds themselves? That creates another issue. Student Advisory Board is formed pursuant to state law. It is an arm of the school committee. It would be akin to the school committee having a fundraiser and distributing the money. And
so,
we need to
Mrs.
look
Dunn,
at
I
that.
may have misspoke there. I think they're looking for their classes to
That's
be able
what
to
I
raise money,
hope.
their student activities to be able to raise money, and those, there is red tape around our schools.
Yes.
I don't think the student advisory has their own bank account. I
No,
think
they don't.
it's more about the classes raising, for the class of 26, for the class of 27, as well as performing arts and things like that for the student-run groups. That's what they're looking for.
Thank you, because that's actually what I just wanted to clarify, because I felt as though they were representing their classmates, which they were doing a good job of it. That's what Student Advisory Board is supposed to do, to bring those issues to us. But I just wanted to make sure that they understood, as well, that they are not a fundraising arm of the school, and honestly, I don't believe that they would be able to raise funds to distribute among other student groups, such as, senior class, et cetera. So just so we can make that distinction as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dunn. So we'll hold this item, before we leave this, Mr.
Just
Miko?
quickly, Mayor, through the chair, one of the other things is technology and how fast it runs, and unfortunately, state law and legislation just doesn't keep up with it, you know, and that includes fundraising with all these different vehicles that we have out there, you know, whether it's GoFundMe or Snap or anything else. So I do think we do need to speak to our legislators as well, but they're well aware of this. I mean, they're very receptive to this, and I'm sure they're working on it as well. But it's technology that moves so quick.
Thank you, Mr. Miko. Mr. Olympio.
Yeah, and just to add to that, but real quick, whenever you solicit money from the public, it just becomes a quagmire for just the smallest of organizations, because there's all kinds of regulations and rules that you have to follow with the IRS and the Attorney General's office, and people are reluctant to put their names on that, because what happens inevitably, and I'm sure that all the PTOs go through this, is you might have a group of active parents for a few years that might be in charge of the organization, but then inevitably their kids get older and the ball just gets dropped, and unfortunately it just seems like a lot of these fundraising activities go underground, so to speak, because again, in Massachusetts over my career, they take that very seriously. Whenever you're soliciting funds from the public in any manner, there's all kinds of regulations you have to follow, and most people just don't want to do that. Inevitably, they may just try to donate without getting solicitations. So that's the big problem. It's just the regulations. I almost wish there were some laws or regulations on the books where there was an exception if the fundraising was, say, $10,000 or less or something to that effect, but it's not. So that's what we're up against.
Thank you for that information, Mr. Olympio. Okay. All right, so we will hold this item in continued business until the February 10th meeting. And next item under continued business is the CPAC presentation. And I'd invite Liz and Jen and Hillary and Marcy. Anybody else that would like to come forward? Just Liz? Come on. All right, yeah, let's go. So Liz, we'll just turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we are here presenting to the school committee really to uphold one of our duties as defined by law. On our first slide, we put that up there. Next slide, please. So in December, we held our sensory-friendly holiday party. We structured it a little different than last year to really be able to open it up to more families. And it was a great time by everyone. We had 4 different activity stations. We had snowman making, ornament decorating, the dreidel game, thanks to a donor, and Kwanzaa mat making. We also had cookies and milk, but the star of the show really was Santa, who took pictures with all the kids and mingled with all the families. It was great. The kids just ran around the calf, did different activities, hopped to different tables. The cookies didn't last long. And it was a great event, and we look forward to doing it again next year. This month, we welcome some of our new school committee members. A few of us were able to attend the inauguration ceremony for city officials, and we look forward to working with all of you. We had our first parent meeting of the school year. We have also communicated with Peabody's LPAC to see how we can best support their families and share information with them. We also sent out our monthly newsletter with information that included how families can access their student STAR reading and math scores, because students come back to school in January and they take the STAR reading and math assessments. So thought it was a good time to put a little plug in there. Next slide, please. Our next event is coming up in towards the end of February, and this is a collaboration that we're doing with the Danvers CPAC, and this will be here at Higgins Wednesday, February 25th at 7 p.m., and it's all about how to organize your kiddos' medical and educational records, because If you have been down the special ed route for a while, you have a big pile of paperwork. And how do you organize that and maintain it at home so you can easily find things when you need to? So we will have a bunch of free binders and other resources for families to take. We'll give some tips and tricks about how to stay organized, but really it's just so families can come together, meet each other, talk. You can organize your stuff while you're there, or you can just bring home the resources that we are providing and some of the tips and organize at a later date. Next slide. I just wanted to showcase the Federation for Children with Special Needs calendar of workshops for February. They have a workshop pretty much every weeknight, and tons of different topics. These workshops are all free to families. You just have to sign up on their website. And this is free because the school district, Peabody, has helped us get a membership. So it gives all these presentations to our families. Next slide. And so just a couple areas of concerns that we've heard from families over the past 2 months. So we've heard numerous ongoing concerns about bullying. Most of the concerns we've heard are from Higgins families. A couple of incidents are students who report bullying to their parents, but are asking the parent not to report it because the student feels the bullying will get worse. Another concern we have heard is that a few families have stated they reported the bullying, but they've been told that there's nothing that can be done, but a full investigation was never completed. So they also weren't guided to the incident reporting form. Many families don't even know what that is still. So we've really encouraged and guided families to the appropriate person to contact, and also have encouraged them to complete the incident reporting form. Next is the knowledge of the Student Support Center here at Higgins. We've heard from a few families that don't even know what the center is. We've asked if they've reached out. They've brought concerns to us. We've asked if they've reached out to the support center, and they didn't know what it was. So also some students report that they don't know what the center is, how to access it, or that they don't hear the daily announcements as they're advertised on the center's flyer. And lastly, we wanted to ask for you to showcase some of the great things happening in our special ed programs. Each month we watch the school councils come forward to school committee. We see high achieving students and top athletes showcase their hard work and achievements, yet that we don't really see much from our special education programs, staff and teachers. Many of our staff and students are doing great work. For instance, the Brown School has their fifth grade has inclusive leaders. Higgins will be having a middle school unified sports basketball program that's coming up. And then Miss Nowell is a Milestones teacher, and her class had a great Thanksgiving event. We just feel like showcasing some of these great things happening could bring recognition to our students and our staff and help build a sense of belonging for all. That's all I had for you tonight.
Great, thank you, Liz. That was excellent information. And I did want to give a shout out to Peabody Santa Ted Neary, who I know came to the event, and he's terrific. So thank you for that update. Some good information there. Any questions, comments right now? I'll go to you, Ms. Cox.
I just want to second the idea of bringing forth our special education students and showcasing what they're doing. I actually attended Mrs. Nowell's Thanksgiving class party, and it was lovely. Everything, the students were all so proud of what they did. They were all excited to share with their families and their friends who came and all the administration that came. And so I definitely think that that is something that I would fully support moving forward.
Great, thank you. Ms. Millman?
Thank you to each of you of stepping up and reinvigorating and providing such fantastic, well-attended events for the CPAC. It's been a while, and it's greatly appreciated, and it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's providing the information, so I want to thank each of you. A couple of different things is I know that the newsletter that you spoke about, was that able to get out to, who is the distribution list did you end up with?
That is a good question. So we had about 55, last time I looked, 55 families signed up. It's just, we posted on our website and our social media pages, so that's how families can find out about it, and it's up to them to sign up. I did talk to Dr. Vidala about sending out an email district-wide, which I actually just sent to you this evening, so hopefully we'll get some more people to sign up. We mentioned it at all of our meetings. Slowly we're getting more and more. It's just a slow process. But
Is your website, or at a minimum, a link to also the newsletter, is that on our website?
Our website link is under the special ed tab, but it's kind of buried. Yeah, it's there. But.
I also will concur. I think highlighting all students and all abilities at any way that we can is wonderful. I know Ms. Knoll does a lot of hard work too, and I imagine that was a great event to attend. Sorry I couldn't get to go. Sorry, Ms. Knoll and your students. There was one other thing. I think we hear you, and I just wanted to assure, and I know that you, Liz, know specifically the bullying statement that you made and the concerns that people are having continuously are not going unheard. They are being heard. There is a task force that's very hard at work, I think we're meeting twice a month, it is, and I'm hoping that the results of that will be coming forth soon, and people should continue to talk about it if things aren't changing, but it's coming, and there's a lot of work being done on it, so I think the change is coming.
Thanks, Ms. Millen. Ms. Dutton?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you all very much. That was a very good report. One of the things that concerns me is still the ongoing lack of awareness about the process to report bullying, and especially here at Higgins, the people don't know about the Student Support Center. Do you have any suggestions on how we can make sure that people know about this? I know there's been outreach, information sent to parents, newspaper stories, Facebook stories, where if you're able to see any deficiency in that notification, what can we do to make sure everyone knows about it?
So I'm not sure if I have the grand all solution, but I have a kiddo here at Higgins, so I've kind of polled the audience amongst his friends, and do they even know about the center? And most haven't even heard of it. I don't know how much the staff are talking about it, and we all have to recognize and admit that there's a problem. And I think bullying and mental health almost have to be separated a little bit. And it's hard that we sometimes lump in the mental health with the bullying because they're sometimes different, and oftentimes different, but I don't know how much the staff are just having open, honest conversations and dialogue and bringing it to the forefront, because if the kids aren't hearing it from the staff, then I don't know how else they're going to learn about the center.
Okay. Actually, I'd like to make a suggestion, if we could. Could you please ask the staff if we could take all of the students on a tour of the building and bring them to the center to show them where it is and let them know it's available and let them know about it? Sometimes people need to see what you're talking about. Sometimes people may tune out notices or emails or anything like that, but at least in this school, and it is a big school, and I'm picturing a 6th grader who just doesn't even look left or right. They're in the hallway, they go to their class, they follow their teacher, they go here, they go there, that's it. 8th grade may know a bit more. Not counting on it, to be perfectly honest, because there are kids in the 8th grade that eyes ahead, they don't look left or right, they just go here and there. I really do think we need to take the kids on a field trip, specifically in a standard class. I know they all have to take English. I don't know which grades take health. I know they all take phys ed. Could you take one period and instead of playing basketball, bring them down the hall and say, here, if you need help, if you need to talk to someone, this is where you come and this is how you do it. If you're being bullied and you feel upset about it and you need someone to talk to, you come here. Explain it to the kids. Take, what do we have, 45-minute periods at the middle school? 54, even better, 6 more minutes. Take them on a tour, show them where it is, and that way, when you look at a kid at home and say, do you know anything about the health center? Just like any other conversation when they come in the door, what'd you do today? Nothing. What'd you learn today? Nothing. But you could say, wait a minute, I know you went down and saw that health center, what's it like? And we should let the parents know when the students go on it too. That way everybody knows where it is. And the word will travel, but I think it might be the only way we can get through to everybody. So could you please look into it and let me know?
Absolutely. And I will say, the reason why we create the task force is because it takes a village. It's incumbent upon all of us. We've had, the mayor's been there six or eight times this year already. We've been in the newspaper. We've been on the announcements. So when someone says, I don't know where it is, that's an opportunity. That's an opportunity for us to have a conversation about where it is, because we all know where it is. We've all been there. And I think it's important for all of us to continue. You know, we have kids that say they don't know where it is. We have parents that say they don't know where it is. And I want to know about it. I want to talk to every parent who says that they don't know where it is, because that conversation tells me that now they're engaged in a conversation with someone who does know where it is, and it's incumbent upon all of us. That's why we have a task force. That's why the city has rallied around this. That's what Peabody Promise is all about. Anytime someone says, I don't know how to do that, is an opportunity for any one of us as a call to action to say, this is how you do it, and I'm going to point you in the right direction, and I'm going to follow through, and I'm going to take that responsibility. And I think we're at the point now where, as a community, we all need to do that, and I think, yes, absolutely, we need to do that, and I think that, you know, it's incumbent upon us. But anybody who doesn't know where it is, point them in my direction. I will connect them. I'll go on a personal tour with the kids that need to be there. But I think it's on all of us. One thing I'll say about the celebrations, we want to celebrate all of our students. What you saw today was a wonderful piece of inclusion and belonging. And we didn't identify anybody who was in a special program, and that was on purpose. And I'm not going to identify anybody, but there's a therapeutic program at the West School. There are kids in the PowerPoint, there are kids who are part of that school that are embedded in there, that are not being called out by name or by program for confidentiality reasons. But you saw tonight, those kids feel included. And we do need to do better, and we need to put our staff out there a little bit more and celebrate them for the wonderful work they're doing. And I appreciate what you guys did tonight, because a lot of these community events have never been this well attended. And that's a huge credit to you and the work that you're doing. So keep it up, keep coming. And I got the email today, and it's going out tomorrow. So thank you so much.
Can I just mention about the potential tours? There might be an opportunity to show the kids online where to get the incident reporting form, because they can report it via the form, but also where are those forms within the school, because in our current policy, they're listed in multiple, they're supposed to be in multiple spots, and so it might be a good time to show the kids where they can find that form as well.
Great, thank you, CPAC. Thank you for being here. And, any other questions? I'm going to go to Mr. Miko, and then back to Ms. Millman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through the chair, and thank you for being here. I appreciate your hard work on everything you do. Peabody Promise was an idea that came out of great conversation with different groups. I've only been to 3 meetings. My schedule didn't allow me to go to the others, but I know the mayor has been there. I see Councilor at Large, Mr. Hockman, he's been to many of them. I know the dedication and the hard work that this staff has put forward. Newspaper articles, Facebook posts. I'm not going to sit here and allow someone to say that we're not doing our job. I'm going to be honest with you. We've really publicly put this out there. Every kid should know about this. Every parent should know about this. If every parent doesn't know about this, then they need to find out from someone else. that's just the way it has to be. What I'd like to see happen is every kid has a Chromebook. Let's put out a survey. Right in there daily, they have to hit yes that they know the program exists. Send it out to the parents. Let's get some data and go that route. Because I can't sit here and believe that people don't know about this. All that we've been through, all the hard work, all the professionals that we brought forward, state leaders, city leaders, someone like Tom Gould from the city council, Mr. Hockman, Mr. Turco, all these great people have come forward and have put this out there. I don't know how you don't know this exists. We've put a lot of energy, a lot of funding into this, a lot of resources. It needs to be out there to everyone. So if it isn't, then we need to know about it. But I do think we've done everything we can. So I'd like to maybe just see something on a digital format, just like a sign-off sheet, like they sign off at the beginning of the year for their medical forms or whatever they do, a student handbook. Let's include that. And then students have to, whether it's a field trip, but I'm not going to drop this on staff and say staff's not doing their job. This staff's been through a lot here, and I think they're doing their job. I think it's incumbent on parents, students, and everyone to know that this exists, and I think we should have proof by having it digitized through our Chromebooks and have a survey. Thank you.
Yeah, Joe, I just want to say with all due respect, I don't know if you feel attacked by what we're bringing up, but we have kids in the building who, for whatever reason, didn't get the newspaper, don't know, still really just don't know what this, in are maybe using an excuse to come to the center for some kids when they just want to get out of class. We want to make sure that's not happening. But for the children who honestly and openly admitted not knowing, I don't think that it's falling on just one person. It's just us communicating that there is a breakdown somewhere in the communication in the way that it's getting to the kids, and just advocating for just more ways to reach the kids. So I don't, okay.
No attack here.
Okay.
And through the chair, I would just like I'd like to have 100%. I want every parent to know about it, every kid to know about it. That is it. That way we can help every kid and we can help every parent that feels that they need the support. This is why we've invested so much time and resources, and because it's the right thing to do. So if 50 kids don't know about it, that's not right. We need everyone on board. Everyone needs to know that they can go to a place for help. That's why we've put this in place. This is why we've put all the resources here. That's all I'm saying. Trust me, don't worry about me being, I'm not attacked. I want to help kids, and I want to help parents. So if we have 10, 15, 20, 50 parents of kids that don't know that we have this resource, it's more,
Yeah.
then we need to find a way to get 100% on board. Thank you.
And I think that's why we brought it up, because amongst ourselves, we were saying, how is it possible with all the work that we've done? I think most of us have been involved in the task force. Hillary, you have a seat at the steering committee. And so we were questioning ourselves, how do people not know about this, which is why we brought it forward. And one thing we've mentioned too is, well, one, we're dealing with the teenagers, we're dealing with teenage population, which they're not the most reliable of the bunch at baseline, and also the people that are really needing the support most. Those families are in a really bad place dealing with a child having mental health challenges, which is hard to navigate on its own, period. And then there's multiple avenues you can go. You're going to guidance, you're referring to the IEP process, maybe a 504, maybe you're working with a SAC. When do you refer someone to this outside resource? Is it when we're waiting? And I think some of those algorithms were never really, I don't know if they're finalized or not, I wasn't part of that, but there's also a lot of people doing a lot of things. I know we discussed this at the task force meeting the other night, that there's so much work going into it and so many people are doing different things, but does the public know what is happening behind those closed doors? And such too is another, I think, question. Like I was at a red light, I think it was by the Speedway the other day, and I saw a big, beautiful Peabody Promise billboard. I knew what Peabody Promise was, but I don't know if I was just a parent with a child with a mental health crisis. I don't know that I would have linked that to like reaching out. I know some suggestions brought forward to us, or maybe it was at the task force or us, I can't remember which, they all merged together, is potentially using the billboards at the Higgins and at the high school and highlighting it there, and just how do we make sure, like, I think it opened after the school year started this year too, so maybe we missed that open house opportunity also, but we just wanted to bring it forward because we question the same thing. Well, how is it possible that people don't know about this with all the effort people are doing? But being a teenager, managing mental health, those are all a lot to bring in one more resource too, so.
Thank you. It was a good discussion. Thank you. Good. Ms. Millman?
I think something, as Liz said, there are two separate, but they do combine issues of the mental health component and also the bullying component. And still, there are people that don't know where they can find a form, or that they must fill out a form if someone says they, or alleges in any way, shape, or form they have been bullied. And I know that we're working on that as a task force. I'm on that task force. I've been on it from the beginning, prior to school committee. My ask to you, Mayor, is perhaps we can get a piece of the task force to come present at school committee of all the things in general and to make it public, because I know you have a steering committee and folks come together, and there's lots of pieces that are part of the city, which this is, but it also addresses very specifically of work that we're doing to address this issue within the context of the school and the school community. And perhaps the task force itself can come and kind of, these are the things that are relative to the school, to give the public some of the information of what we've been working on, because change is coming. It doesn't happen overnight, and there is information coming, and we've looked at policies and procedures, and they have to go through the right sources before everything is out there. But I think it's important, as a community has still kind of waiting to hear, and people are still unaware, there are still things that can be done in the interim, and let them know what's happening. One, two, indicate that we know that these forms are in the places that they are mandated to be, and make it very public and known that every office, every adjustment counselor's office, and nurse's office should have these forms when it comes to bullying, and they should be there. And if anybody mentions to a staff person, and whether it is a cafeteria worker, to the teachers, to the superintendent, that it will elicit an investigation and a form to be filled out. And these are things that we've discussed at length at this task force, and to have a task force say what's happening, because it's a city task force, if I'm not mistaken, but most part of it has to do with the schools. And it goes through all the schools. It's not just limited to the Higgins as a middle school. It's for all the schools to have this information, and just kind of, this is what we're doing, and this is where change is coming, and to be aware of it. So I would ask that we be able to have some of these task force, not just the anti-bullying task force, but maybe others that are relevant to the schools, give us some kind of presentation on what they've been doing in their meetings.
I think that's a good suggestion. I'm going to bring that up specific to the Peabody Promise group, but as well as some other opportunities. Thank you. Mrs. Dunn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And being a member of the task force, I can share your frustration, because there has been so much work, and we feel like we've done such outreach, and I know the school has done a lot of outreach here at this level, as well as the elementary and the high schools. But I'm going to put the mayor on the spot. Mr. Mayor, how many cars were towed from the storm? Do you know offhand? I know it's in the hundreds. All right, you don't have to give me the exact number. Okay, I am using that as an example. How did people not know there was a parking ban? How did people not know we were going to have a huge snowstorm? Some of the people ignored it, but there were people who had no idea they needed to get their car off the road so the plows could get through. There are people who have no idea that people need to go down the sidewalk. And I am using this as an example to show you how frustrating it is to try to get information to the public. And I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but I know.
There's a lot. I don't know the number.
Right, I saw a couple hundred. But I mean, seriously, you ask a good question. How could people not know about what we have, what we've been working on, what we're providing to our children? And to the whole city. We've got Bloom, we've got all these options, right? No matter what you do, You can try very, very hard, and we still have to keep trying. I am not saying not to, and that's why I threw that little suggestion out there about take the kids right down and show them where everything is. But you will still have people who will tell you, I've never heard a word about it. I have no idea about this. I can't believe this. Why didn't anyone tell me? So just last 2 days give you a good example.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's frustrating, but I think it's important for us to hear because we have to continue to spread the word.
We do. We do.
We need everybody to know. So,
Right.
All right, that was a good discussion. Thank you. Any final items? Yes, Ms. Cox? Yep.
One last thought. So I've just pulled up, Peabody Promise, and I'm looking through all of the resources. Has there ever been a discussion about a QR code instead of providing the tiny link URL on any of these? I feel like students and people are much more open to exploring when there's a QR code. It's easy. They put their camera up to it. I just don't know if it's been a discussion.
Are you referring to the bullying form?
Yep,
to
like
get to
the
that?
form or linking directly to the Peabody Promise website. Like here's a QR code right to the website. Here's, so it's a quicker, easier access point.
I mean, we can definitely do that.
Just a thought is something that everyone has their phones. It's a much quicker way than going to the website, the Peabody website, and then scroll into where Peabody Promise is. And even on the student resource flyer on the web, it has a URL that somebody would have to type in.
Yeah, I know there had been some discussion about signage within the schools and some hesitancy to have QR codes because we don't want phones out and about. So there's sort of that element to it, but the technology piece is not a barrier to that at all. So we can certainly
just a thought.
Look into that. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, this was a good discussion. Thank you. Any other final items for CPAC before we move on? All right, thank you all. Thank you. All right, next we're going to go to item number 4, back to the superintendent's report. Dr. Vidal, I'll turn it over to you and your team.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a note for the committee, the WPS Institute presentation, the people could not come tonight, so we'll put that on a subsequent agenda. That is a group that is working with the Higgins. They did the Try It Day recently. It's a wonderful group, but they are unable to come tonight due to the weather, so we'll skip that one. We have 2 items left on the superintendent's report, items 3 and 4, the Peabody Veterans Memorial High School Program of Studies and a Wayfinder presentation. So I'll call up Principal Brooke Randall and our Director of Counseling, Diana Finn, and I will bring up the Program of Studies first. And Ms. Randall, you can take it away.
All right. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having us tonight. We're moving up in our yearly agenda. Typically, we haven't come to you with our program of studies presentation until late February, almost early March. So we're really trying to move our timeline up, and that'll really help us on the back end at the end of the school year to have things more in place before the summertime. So thanks for having us tonight. You're gonna see from the presentation, it's a lot more brief than the last couple of years have been. In terms of our program of studies, we're not looking to change or add very much in this coming year, and I'll explain why. So we can go to the next slide. So limited new courses for next year that are on the docket. Really our focus, spoke with our leadership team at the high school about this focus. I'd really like this year and probably into next year as well to really keep a focus on closing the gap with the Mass Core graduation standards in anticipation of the new high school graduation requirements that are going to be coming down the pike. If you've been following, I'm sure you have been following what the state has been doing. I've been trying to take part in any meeting, any webinar, anything that I can to just really stay up to speed on the changes. I was on a webinar just before the holidays with the Commissioner and Secretary of Education in the state. And what I can, of course, there's so many unknowns still, right? The committee that the governor has formed is working on the proposal that's going to go before the governor, and not until the end of this school year. I think it's due in June. So there's so many questions still to be answered. But things that I'm learning that are going to be, we can pretty much count on, is that the Mass Core standards, which only about half the high schools in the state currently follow. We are not one of them currently, but that's likely going to be the floor of expectations. Even 4 years ago, coming into this position, having conversations with Dr. Vidala, that's always been a goal of mine for the high school, is to get us there anyhow, and that's a process, right? Change is not an event, it's a process. And so we've been working on the steps to kind of close that gap a little bit, and I think now, knowing what's on the horizon pretty soon, that's really our focus. And so, as far as new course proposals, where past few years you've seen lots of different options, new electives coming on, that pirates and crime course, that was a big hit a couple years ago. But we're really focusing in. We're looking to bring 2 new AP courses on the board. We're very proud of the AP courses that we offer. We offer the widest range of AP courses of any high school in our whole area, our whole region. We'll be up to 25 with these 2 additions, I believe. AP Business and Personal Finance, AP Computer Science Principles. So looking forward to those 2 potential additions, in addition to ASL 1, which we were very excited last year when we brought you Intro to ASL. It's been a very successful course this year, and so we're very excited to expand that into ASL 1 next year, a full year course of ASL. Something we're trying out this semester, just with a little internal pilot with a small group, is a role of an academic leadership aide as well. So before we look to add that officially into the program of studies, I want to tell you a little bit about that role as well. I don't think that one has a slide, so I'll just give you a little brief of what that is. Essentially, it's a student TA position. So currently, each semester we have a limited number of, it's usually just seniors, kind of helping out in the main office, like as a main office aide or potentially a library aide. But in talking to many members of the leadership team, and I did experience this at a previous school that I was at as well, having a student kind of act as a little bit more of a leader amongst their peers in sort of a TA type position in certain classes. We've drawn up an overview of expectations, sort of a one-pager for students to try this out. Again, we're going to try to start this really with a piloted rollout with just our main subject areas and just 1 student per subject area, just to try it on and see how it goes. And we'll probably have more to report back on maybe later in the semester too, even if we wanted to potentially table this one. Maybe we could even bring a couple students that are participating in it later in the second semester to you. But with that, we can move on ahead. So right now, I just wanted to highlight where our current graduation requirements are at. You've seen this slide probably a bunch of times, within our program of studies, as well as other presentations that we've given. Of course, our students complete 115 credits based on what you can see there on the screen. They also, community service is a required component as well. I highlighted 3 in particular, math, science, and social studies, because those 3 areas in particular are areas where we are not meeting Mass Core graduation standards. So once we have to flip the switch, if you will, we are going to be ready. And we'll do that. So essentially, and it's going to be on the next slide, but before you click to the next slide, Dr. Vidala, I just want to highlight, so right now, PVMHS students must pass 3 years of math, earning 15 full credits to get the Peabody High School diploma. However, if a student wanted to matriculate to 4-year collegiate program, they need to be taking 4 years of math. In science, we require 2 years of science, 10 credits. You'd have to take 3 years of a lab science specifically under Mass Core requirements. And with social studies, the 3 years, the 15 credits, is actually still the same, But the difference is under Mass Core, it's not only a U.S. history, but also world history, and those are required courses. Under Mass Core, there's also the requirement of 2 years of language, and it has to be sequential. So we can't just, take Spanish 1 and Italian 1. It must be 2 years of a sequential language, and there's also art required credit as well. So you can see that we've got a little bit of gap to close. And I think we're in really good shape, but again, it's just an area that we're focused in on for this year. So if you want to click to the next slide, I know it's a little small to see. It's just a screen grab off of DESI's website, but this is essentially Mass Core standards. Currently, the class of 2025, last year's graduating class, 75% of the class graduated having met Mass Core standards. 75%. So that means, again, to matriculate onto a 4-year program. We have a number of students also, if you can look at other data, I know I saw the number of 87% out there as well. I think that includes students that are matriculating to a 2-year program as well. But 75% of last year's graduating class met these standards, but likely in the 27-28 school year is well, that's just my anticipation. Don't hold me to that. That's going to be coming down from the state level. But I would anticipate in another couple of full years from now, we're going to see that this is going to be the floor for all high schools. That's what I anticipate. So, and I know we'll have questions at the end, but we'll move right on. So AP Business and Personal Finance. Gave you a few blurbs about that particular course. Really excited about the potential for this to come on for a couple of big reasons. One, it'll be sort of like a little natural capstone of our IP pathway, our innovation pathway in business that we've now had for this. We're in our 2nd year with it. And students that are in that pathway do have to they're required to take some certain AP courses in the pathway. This would be one of those potential courses they could choose from, and just have a little bit of diversity in that palette a little bit. And that's not to say this is only limited to students in that pathway. This would be an AP course open for all. It's also very important to note another piece of the anticipated new high school graduation frameworks coming from the state is that there's going to be a requirement that all students graduate having taken a financial literacy course. We're already, Diana and I have already pinballed some ideas we have with the leadership team at the high school as well about kind of some other ways to, potentially down the line, make sure that we're being able to offer a personal finance or financial literacy course to all of our students. I anticipate that to actually even be taught out of some different content areas, just to make sure that we're able to hit all students in the school. But this would certainly satisfy that requirement as well. So again, that focus on that course. AP Computer Science Principles. We do currently offer AP Computer Science A at the high school, so this would be another AP Computer Science course. The content and the structure and the curriculum are different, and it is 2 distinct AP exams at the end of the year. A student could take both of these, accounting for 2 different 5-credit computer science courses. If you were to rank them, this would kind of be a little bit, I don't want to say entry level, it's an AP course. However, if you were to stack them, you would take this one before the AP Computer Science A that we do currently already offer. Another big piece, again, kind of thinking about that, closing the gap between where we are and where Mass Core standards are. I won't have you flip back a few slides, but you can see it all in your presentation. In that slide that showed the snapshot of Mass Core standards off of DESI's website, you'll notice that under both math and science, or I should say and/or, a computer science course, which this would satisfy, could satisfy the credits of that 3rd lab science class for math or, for science, or it could satisfy a 4th year math course under math. So it's a versatile piece, as I like to say. So that's the AP Computer Science Principles. ASL 1, I think, speaks for itself. We're excited about this. As I already mentioned, the intro class has been highly successful at the high school, and we're looking forward to bringing on a full-year ASL 1 course with the anticipation of next year's program of studies bringing on ASL 2. But we're trying to roll that in, and again, looking at that, closing the gap. Of course, in our current graduation standards, we don't have a world language requirement even at all. Under Mass Core, you have to have the 2 consecutive years of language, and ASL provides that additional pathway under world languages as well. And so before we move on to leveling of elective courses, that's kind of it for the program of studies and potential additions. So I'll pause there in case anyone has any questions about that.
Thank you, Ms. Randall. I'll open it up to any committee members' questions. Ms. Millman?
This is great. It's always nice seeing this. I think closing the gap to Mass Core is crucially important, sooner than later, actually. I was surprised, but good to hear that 75% of the kids do follow Mass Core without even knowing it, and they're offering and meeting these things. I guess I have a couple of questions. The courses you're looking to add, particularly looking at the AP courses, and you kind of got there where I was going to ask is FinLit, financial literacy. Financial literacy across the Commonwealth and many other districts has been a required class. And I find that adding an AP class like you're adding, why aren't we adding a FinLit, financial literacy class across the board? That is the AP version of it. As soon as we put this in, putting them all in as an offering to all students, because that can encapsulate the different levels that it would need to, from some very simplistic of what financial literacy might be for someone and at their ability levels to all the way through and inclusive of the AP. So I'm just kind of curious why you're starting there and not starting across the board and making a financial literacy across the board up into and including AP, which then is a prep for an exam.
So we actually do have a financial literacy elective. It's within our business department right now. So, and that always runs successfully every single year. So it's a not so much starting at the top and then we'll come back and kind of fill in. What I'm thinking is we do have that elective that runs within the business department. We have some ideas about how to kind of expand from there, within, having even an offering, probably the same course, potentially same course, same curriculum. Right now it's run at a CP pathway level, if you will. I do anticipate that, especially as we kind of roll into next year around this time, we'll probably be talking about other ways to kind of branch that and really look at, again, we're not trying to wait until somebody says, now you've got to do this and we've got to now jump and have a solution. We want to have those solutions already ready to go. So I think we'll be seeing, kind of some of the ways we've been kicking around expansion of a kind of a CP level elective in ways that can hit all students, that we'll probably be looking at that a little more closely within the coming year too.
If I made a follow-up, when you're saying that it's a CP business track, does that then still meet what we're looking at as meeting Mass Core of a math class and making it meeting a math class requirement?
Right now, what we currently run, I'd have to look at it. It's tough to say if it would or wouldn't. I just don't know the exact curriculum off the top of my head too well. But I'm happy to kind of go back and look at that, because at the high school level, of course, there are really several classes among content areas that you could see that could count here or count here, like a nutrition class, that could be a wellness or a science, right? Like, so I'd want to really look at what is the curriculum, current curriculum of that course that we do currently run in our business pathway. And if there were to say, okay, let's expand that out, and that could, a couple of those electives could be brought onto a math teacher's schedule. But the real question is, could that financial literacy class count as 2.5 or 5 credits? It'll be interesting, too, to see if the state is requiring some whole year component or if a half year elective would suffice as well. So again, there's still a lot of unanswered questions, but we want to be ready and have the answers when it's time. But I think it does start with looking at what is the current curriculum of that course, what could it potentially satisfy? Right now, it's elective credit within business, but could it, satisfy a math credit as well?
And just again, one follow-up relative to Mass Core. Mass Core will be the bottom line.
The floor.
Right.
Right.
So we can always look at having more than just the bottom line. So having something like financial literacy count as a math course and being a required course for every student could be something that we do, even though Mass Core might not, but it would still qualify under math potentially as designed. But I think that's a good point. The other one, just out of curiosity as well, I know that there was a study many years ago in Washington State. They had the highest survival rate of a heart attack. And the reason was kids were required in high school to take CPR. Has something like that been considered?
That's not something that we've discussed, no.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah,
But to that point, many of the CTE programs do have the first aid and CPR component and certification as part of it. And also, just one more thing about the AP Business course. Next year is the first year that College Board is offering it, and so we are, training the teacher this year. And so other counseling guidance directors in the area, during our monthly meeting, we discussed how it would count. And right now, all of our local districts, it's checking the box for that financial literacy requirement if they have one, but none have gone so far as to say that it's a math requirement at this point.
And actually, one more thing, just in case our athletic director, Mr. DeRochers, is watching this and screaming at his screen. I'd want to check with him as well, because I do know, because I remember seeing the CPR, I guess, do we still call them dummies?
Probably not.
Probably not. Mannequins, thank you. I was looking for the better word there. I'm like, I don't think that's right. But they were laid out in the hallway the other day, and I do know, so I don't know if I don't believe all of our students are getting certified. I'm pretty confident to say that is not the case. However, as far as a unit of study within our wellness curriculum, it definitely is there, but I'd need to get a more concrete answer for you on that, of where it exists and how could we potentially expand it.
The mannequins won't complain if you called them dummies.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Millman. Ms. Dunn?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Ms. Randall. If you present us with an AP course, I'm with you. I think it's wonderful to make sure our students have that opportunity. It's a wonderful program. Peabody's been a leader with the AP course offerings since, when was it? It might be about 15 years now.
Mass Insight.
Yeah,
that
with
was
Mass Insight.
2008, 7, 8, something like that.
Yeah, way back. So I know the benefits of AP for students, and I think it's wonderful. So thank you for bringing that in. As far as the financial literacy, I'd like to ask, and I know Dr. Vidal, we had talked about this in the past, about integrating financial literacy throughout our curriculum, not specifically having to take a financial literacy class. It's being taught at every level throughout the district so that students are familiar with financial literacy. The state wants students to be aware of how to deal with finance. It doesn't start in high school. It starts at the elementary level, to be perfectly honest. So I know we were working on putting that into our curriculum K-12. And as far as making it a specific class, I don't know if that's required by the Department of Ed at this point. I didn't think so. It's an initiative for financial literacy. And I know there's been work done in that, and I'm very happy about that. I do appreciate the sign language. I think that's great. And I do think this is a really timely conversation, because as it came up, and we're working on the new high school, this is going to figure into our plans, because if we need to increase the availability of science classes, labs, we need to be able to know about that going forward with the actual design of the building. Same thing with the languages. And I'm wondering, do we need to do that with computers? I know years ago we had computer labs. You went into a room where the computers were plugged in and screwed to the wall or whatever, and now that's certainly different. But do we need specific dedicated spaces for computer classes that we may not have thought about, but we do need to think about now that we're going forward to build? And is it possible to calculate at this point the additional staff that we would need to be able to implement all the Mass Core requirements? Because we would need additional teachers in those specific subjects. Right now, we have the teachers to teach the classes for our students, but if we increase the number of classes that are required, we are probably going to need to add to our staff. So is that something that we could look at now? I know it sounds like it's a little too early, and I don't want to get mixed up with the budget. That's a whole nother kettle of fish. But being able to look at that in addition to the needs of the building, I think we need to start doing that and planning. So, dumping it on you. There you go. Thanks for coming tonight.
Of course, all things we're thinking about.
I know, and thank you very much. This was very thoughtful, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunn. Mr. Miko?
For being here. I should turn on my mic. Thank you very much. You know, my favorite time is at the end of the year when I get to name all the great schools that our students are attending. And it starts here. It starts with the program of studies. And adding this financial literacy AP class is one of them. I've had conversations with graduating students who've made college decisions based on having that course and speaking to their teacher about finances and loans and the real value of all that. So this is real life stuff that that a lot of adults, probably a generation ago, wish they had, you know, when they made their financial decisions, whether purchasing homes or going to schools. So not only is this something that kids need now, but this is something they need in the future. So I really applaud that, and I just applaud the hard work and everything that you put in. Peabody Veterans Memorial High School is a special place, and there's a lot of competition out there, but I'll tell you, I think we do as well as anyone else. So I appreciate you being here and all the hard work. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miko. Any other comments or questions? Mrs. Dunn?
Just one more, and it kind of links back to the conversation that took place before you took stage. I am still shocked and amazed by the number of people who have no idea what we offer at Peabody Veterans Memorial High School. It is one of the most frustrating conversations to have with people who have no idea of the breadth and the depth of the classes offered at our school. Mr. Miko touched on it a bit by being proud of where our students go. And that is actually part of the whole conversation about the education we provide to students. And again, you could print our entire course offering in the newspaper. We could send it to every house with an electric bill. You could do everything possible, and there's still going to be people that said, I had no idea you offered that. And it really is frustrating because there's a lot of good work that goes on at the high school. There are a lot of truly dedicated staff there, giving all of our students great opportunities with a great education, and far too many people put down our high school. They have no clue of what goes on up there. And many of them are shocked and have to apologize when they find out what we really do. So keep up the good work. Someday we'll get that information out to people and get you to toot your horn to the public. Again, the same people that park in a snowstorm aren't going to read that message either. But it's really something that has bothered me for a long time. People think all the grass is greener in other schools, and it's not. So thank you for your work.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunn. All right, thank you both for being here, thank you.
Thanks. We have a little bit of a second
Oh, yeah, you got
component.
the
It's
next
a
item.
little bit. I just wanted to, quick comment back to Ms. Dunn. You're right, no matter how many times or ways or avenues or broadcasting mechanisms we use, right? We're hopeful to get to everybody. I know I just had this conversation last week with my own leadership team at the high school, who suggested it's something that I can get better at personally. So I'm going to be committed to making sure that I'm putting those bits of good news specifically around our curriculum work and the strides that we're making and the goals that we continuously set for ourselves to meet. Again, you know, we push out so many celebratory things, but I feel I can do a better job of promoting what we do academically and our goals and around that as well. So that'll be something I continue to push out in my Sunday messages out to families. So appreciate you saying that. What we wanted to transition to, and it's a nice segue off of Mr. Miko, your last comment as well, kind of where our students go and kind of how our courses in the program of studies impact them at the next level. We have kind of made a decision, what we're hoping gets approval from the committee here. Within our program of studies, you may have noticed that the majority of our elective courses, not so much our core courses, but the majority of our elective courses for the past probably 6 to 7 years are unleveled. What that means is creative writing, forensic science, environmental science, I could go on. Almost all of our elective courses are not counting into a student's GPA. They're simply not counting. Students are taking these elective courses, getting a grade in the courses that goes on their transcript, but it's not counting in their weight. It's not weighting for anything. What we would like to do, and this is where I'm going to hand it over to Diana in just a second to kind of really tell you about the impacts and the why of this decision making. But what we're looking to do is remove that unleveling of all of our elective courses with a default of putting them at a CP. However, it doesn't mean that's necessarily where some of them will stay. We have several electives in our program of studies that really should be honors credit. And so that's where we're going to defer back to our department heads and our experts in those particular content areas to provide, we'll have some more conversations there to see where everything may land. But it's really to remove that, unleveled tag, if you will, from our courses. And Diana will explain, definitely let it hit home with the why.
Okay, so before I go into the admissions and merit financial aid impact, currently our courses, our elective courses, they're inequitable between STEM advanced courses, so STEM college prep electives, and humanities electives that are almost all unweighted. And so STEM has more rigorous opportunities for students and weighted courses, and so in coming to you with this proposal, it's to level the playing field in that way. As it relates to college admissions, one of the main parts, as you all know, of college admissions when a college receives an application is assessing the transcript. And so colleges will look at the courses that the student takes, the level in which the course is being taken, and then their final grade. They will recalculate a GPA because we know how different GPA scales are and how many colleges there are across the world. High schools there are across the world that colleges are assessing. And so colleges will look at the rigor of the courses that the students are taking and electing to take. They then will look at the context. So we send a school profile, a 2-pager that explains the community, the courses that are offered, and the levels that are offered within those courses. Other things like SAT averages, where our past 5 years of graduates have attended, things like that. So a brief picture. And so part of that picture is how many rigorous course offerings students have to select from. And so in making this proposal to you, the admissions impact on first-year college-going students is the colleges are not looking at the unweighted electives as part of their recalculated grade point average. And we want them to do that. We want them to look at the students' elective courses as college prep electives and weigh those into their admissions decision. Furthermore, merit financial aid, especially at the 2 and 4 year and university system in Massachusetts, very clear cut about how they award merit-based aid. And over the past 5 years in my past life, I did lots of working and reaching out to 2, 4 year private schools, Ivy schools, UMasses, to understand the impact that unleveled classes have on merit-based aid, actual money in students' pockets. And they are very clear that unleveled courses, regardless of the level, are not in the equation. And so for an example, at UMass Boston, there's something called the Beacon Scholarship that if a student hits a 3.7, they get $7,500 every year in merit aid. And so that's a lot of money over 4 years. And so the impact of this decision is both in admissions and in merit-based financial aid and how that is awarded. And so in this year, a few weeks ago, I met with some of my colleagues on the North Shore, and none of them have unleveled electives. I wanted to share that piece as well, other than their pass-fail courses, of course, which we're not proposing, are included in GPA, just the unleveled elective courses. Did I hit it all? I think so. Okay. Are there any questions?
Interesting. Thank you. Yeah, let's start with Mr. Olympio.
Thank you both for being here. So I'm trying to understand, so will the colleges, though, still formulate their own GPA? So are we just trying to convince them? I mean, I'm a little confused with if at the end of the day they're going to come to their own conclusion, how do we help
They
them?
will, and now it'll be everything counts within that. Right now, they don't look at something like forensic science and the A the student got in forensic science to impact their admissions.
Right. So by us including it, so they're not.
They
gonna,
will,
They're not
yes.
going to throw it.
Right, it's part of the whole picture, but it
Okay.
is not part of the specific GPA they are recalculating to their ex-college scale.
So they're not. That's my concern. They're not going to throw it back out by.
No, it will be considered now. By moving them up to College Prep 1,
Okay.
they will be included.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Olympio. Mrs. Dunn? Mr. Amico?
I'll yield to Ms. Dunn.
Okay. I am so glad you've brought this forward and that you're going to do this. I know of a specific example in our music department, performing arts. The classes that are offered, one of them which the top students take, those who want to go into music college, it's on a par with the AP course, but it is not considered an AP course. I looked at that curriculum and I was stunned. It's on the level of a college course, and our students were learning it and not really being able to get the credit for that. Now, if you're taking it for fun, I don't think anybody does because it's so difficult, but that's one thing. But when you're trying to get into music school, have a career as a music teacher or a musician, whatever you want to do, you're going to apply to Berkeley, you can't get the credit for that course that it deserves. And it's really unfair. And being able to level the electives is very important for our students and for the entire program to show the rigor which many of those classes have. A lot of our CTE courses have no credits, and yet they're very difficult classes. They are, and I think this is good, and I appreciate it, and I wish you well with doing this, and absolutely, you have my support.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunn. Mr. Amico?
Thank you, through the chair. Ms. Finn, absolutely right. And any of the guidance counselors that I've talked to, college recruiting companies, people that I've talked to, professionals in that field, yeah, this is it. Colleges are looking at these transcripts, and if they see an elective there, and to your point earlier to Mr. Olympio, there are hundreds of schools out there with different programs. You know, Peabody High has this program, Essex Tech has their program, St. John's Prep. So you have one admissions office looking at all these different programs, all these different courses, and unleveled elective courses, they just look at them as, I hate to say it, almost like a blow-off course, and it doesn't count towards merit, doesn't count towards the GPA. So through the chair, whatever we have to do you need a vote to make this happen? Is this something that we can do tonight to get this going as of 26, 27? If so, I'll make that motion right now to approve it and see how it goes.
And I'll second it.
Thank you.
I just asked Dr. Vidala if a vote was required. Do you want to touch on that?
So my understanding is this is a presentation, they're going to update the book and then send it to you for a final review, and we can receive that and then vote on it. I don't know that we necessarily need to vote tonight, but, I mean, I'll yield to the will of the committee.
I don't think there's anything wrong with making a vote if the
Yeah, we
committee would like
can make
to.
a vote now.
You know, this is, and I'll let everyone speak on it, but yeah, I'll make a motion to approve it because I think it's so important. Let's get that rolling. And you know what? There are 8th graders right now sitting and deciding on where they want to go to school. I want them to know that if they go to Peabody High School next year, that they're on path to do everything that we've spoken to about it. So I think it's a great future thing to look at if you're an 8th grader. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Miko.
And I'll keep my second on this.
Any
as
other
well.
comments or questions? Ms. Millman?
I just have, I'm stunned, actually, that I didn't know this, and I thank you for the information, incredibly so. I also am shocked to hear that our CTE doesn't have weighted and credited, and so I'm looking forward to getting more information about that, too, because that's stunning to me
It's just
as
some of the
well,
classes.
that you can't, because there are a variety of courses. It's not just about what they're making with their hands, it's the work they're doing to get there to do it in any of the CTE programs. And to hear if they're not getting weighted credit for it, that concerns me. And I would hesitate on something tonight as far as the motion, because I want more information inclusively, to be frank with you. I do have some further things I want to consider, and I'm so pleased that you brought this forward. I think it's incredibly important, and if kids are doing things and not getting the credit, having a musical theater major student in college now, like, these are looked at, and it does make a difference. And if there is a music theory class that's being taught and that is not weighted, that's concerning. So I'm not opposed to that, but I just like to hold on a minute. I want a lot more information, and to look more at this and see what more you can provide in the full program of studies of information, just to make it really an informed decision on a lot of different levels, and as well as when you make something credited and making levels appropriate and accessible to all students in all different ways. So I appreciate it greatly. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Millman. Any other comments or questions? Mrs. Dunn?
I really want to see it fixed because it's been going on since 1974.
Okay. All right, any other thoughts or comments? We do have a motion. Do we want to move forward with the motion, or do we want to hold? I'll leave it up to the committee.
I'd like to hold, and I don't know the process to say that, because I'd like more information inclusively.
Well, it's up to the person that made the motion. Mrs. Carpenter?
I'd just like to clarify. Are you asking to hold the entire program of studies? Or are you asking to hold just for the leveling?
Yes. Asking both, to hold both. I mean, I guess I'm not sure or clear on what the motion exactly is on it.
So if I could clarify, through the chair, Ms. Millman, you had some concerns about the CTE program, but not so much the electives that we could,
No, that as well.
okay. So
Yeah, that as well.
Thank you. Through the chair, so what I'd like to do is keep the motion on the part of the electives, and then when we get the program study in the book, if that includes some more information for the CTE program, then we can vote on that as well. But I do want to move forward on this end of it, because I want our team, our leadership team, to work on this and get this right for next September.
And if I may, I'd like to correct
Mrs.
something that I
Mrs.
said.
Dunn?
I'm sorry. I'd like to correct something I said, and please jump in and make sure I'm saying this properly. I'm talking about CTE electives. If you're not a CTE student in culinary arts, but we do offer, what is it? World cooking, bake shop, anything to cook. So that's an elective. You're not in the culinary program, but you're taking an elective to learn how to cook. That cooking class is not weighted. It's an elective. It is different than the culinary program. So I want to make that distinction because honestly, I do not know the weights in the CTE program. I know that it is different, necessarily different. But what I'm talking about are the electives that any student is able to take, whether they are a CTE student or not. They take it for fun. Or they take it because they have a real interest in it and they can't get into the CTE program, so they cobble together their own little program themselves. And without the book in front of me, and I can't pull it up online, there are examples of that throughout the system. And that's what I was talking about, the weighting those electives. So I'll make that distinction. CTE is different.
Is there a World Cooking Bake Shop course?
Well, I'm meshing it
That
together.
sounds pretty good.
Oh, hey, believe me.
So,
one of my
Mr.
kids
Mayor,
took that program. We never ate so well.
Just to clarify, Mr. Miko's motion is to ask Ms. Randall and Ms. Finn to put the changes into the program of studies that they presented tonight and present the entire book to the committee. That's what the motion is. I just wanted to be clear because we're not approving the entire program of studies tonight. We're asking these changes to be put into the proposed program of studies that will be presented at a later meeting.
Yes, yes.
So.
Go ahead, Ms. Millman. No, yep, go ahead.
Thanks. Just to further clarify, it's the voting about putting them in just as you're putting in the AP things and just as putting in, and it will have more information. So it's really about putting it in to present it. Got it. I'm good. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Any final items? So we do have a motion on the floor. Everybody comfortable with the motion? Was made by Mr. Miko, seconded by Mrs. Dunn. So we'll do a roll call, please.
Mrs. Dunn.
Yes.
Mr. Olympio.
Yes.
Ms. Millman.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpenter.
Yes.
Mrs. Cox.
Yes.
Mr. Miko.
Yes.
Right. Thank you both very much. This was very informative. Thank you. Great.
Thank you. And the last item that we have on the superintendent's report is just a quick overview of the Wayfinder curriculum. We had a wonderful presentation to our staff on the PD Day, and we've gone through, and Mrs. Finn will go through and talk a little bit about what Wayfinder is and how we got here, and we're very excited to share this with our students this week.
Thank you. And so I feel like this presentation is really a culmination of a lot of work that the Peabody Promise Policy Task Force has worked hard to promote and now to implement. And so we are really proud to take the first steps in implementing Wayfinder K through 12 SEL anti-bullying curriculum from now, and our initial steps now through the end of this year. And so some context here, as I said, Peabody Promise Policy Task Force vetted 8 to 10 different SEL curriculums. Some had anti-bullying, some didn't, some were online, some weren't. There were all sorts of interesting conversations in this room about the best curriculum for all of our students. I did want to mention simultaneously to those, in my first year in this role, I was meeting with the school adjustment counselors and guidance counselors, and one of their calls to action was an SEL K through 12 curriculum as well. So both of those groups really worked hard to land at Wayfinder. So the task force recommended Wayfinder to Dr. Vidala in early December, and communication went out to all Peabody Public Schools faculty right before winter break. And so all Peabody Public Schools students will experience Wayfinder. It was supposed to be starting today, but starting tomorrow, in a Tier 1 setting and some in a Tier 2 and Tier 3 setting. And so our implementation timeline is there. It started January 16th when all Peabody Public Schools faculty were trained by Wayfinder during our professional development day. Now through June of 2026, we're in a try it phase, an intro to Wayfinder. So I'll go into what that looks like at each of the 3 levels in another slide. And then next year we'll have our full year pilot taking into account feedback from teachers and counselors and administrators about what worked and what didn't work, and then a full rollout beyond June 2027. And so Tier 1 implementation in the elementary schools will happen during morning meeting time, 5 to 10 minutes, 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. At each of the levels, Friday is worked in as a feedback or voluntary reflection day for staff to give us information about what worked, and so we can start gathering information as we plan out next year. At the Higgins, Wayfinder will happen during enrichment block with the student's homeroom teacher for consistency purposes, 2 days a week. And then at the high school, it fits in nicely during the advisory block with Fridays, again, being that feedback and reflection time. For this first 6-month try it period, the lessons and activities are selected for teachers, just so they can worry about working within Wayfinder and implementing it with their students. Beyond this year, we'll look at the feedback and look at the resource in Wayfinder and the flexibility of finding lessons, activities, games at all different levels, all different content areas, all different from 5 minutes with zero planning to 60 minutes with more significant planning, runs the gamut. So, but for this year, for this half of year, teachers will have those activities selected for them, so they just have to click a button. Tier 2 and 3 implementation, that school guidance counselors and adjustment counselors, they're continuing their work with smaller groups and individual students with unique needs. And so they've gone through two trainings with Wayfinder already, so that they're able to search for those and to use the data, the waypoints data within Wayfinder to identify the needs of the individual students they work with. And so a little more about Wayfinder and their theory of change. And so the idea behind it and the foundation behind Wayfinder is feeling that students belong and that they know what's meaningful to them, so they're able to articulate what they care about in the world and they're able to act with purpose. And so this slide, their focus on belonging and purpose, I felt intentional about selecting this slide because it aligns so nicely with the sense of belonging and the district's focus on that. And then the next slide has the Wayfinder's 6 core skills. So each and every one of their activities and lessons is connected to one or more of these skills of self-awareness, adaptability, collaboration, agency, empathy, and purpose. And so, like I said, this goes K through grade 12. And so just since January 16th, there have been hundreds of, you can see the activity in Wayfinder, and you can see teachers dabbling in it and starting to include it within their lessons already, which is really exciting. And so where Wayfinder fits, so school-wide, Tier 1 during advisory, academic classes, morning meetings. In the middle there, counseling, Tier 2 and 3 to address absenteeism, bullying prevention, executive functioning skills. And then the third column there, which is a connection to CTE, Portrait of a Graduate, College and Career Readiness, which we haven't really delved into yet. We're really focusing on the Tier 1 within the classroom, and then Tier 2 and 3 with counselors. And we're just so excited to get started on this. The feedback already from teachers and administrators has been wonderful, and the feedback from the professional development day was wonderful too, so we're excited to get started.
Great. Thank you, Mrs. Finn. This is an extremely comprehensive platform. I was able to attend one of the PD sessions with Dave Gravel from PEF. Huge shout out to them, and thank you for raising some funds for us to be able to pay this curriculum, and thank you to the Peabody Promise Group that identified this resource. It really is incredible. It's extremely comprehensive, and we're just really excited to roll this out.
All right, thank you. I'll open it up. Any comments, questions? Mrs. Dunn?
Just, thank you. And I am not sure, but I think it might be the first time we've ever had a K through 12 program for all of our students. We've had different programs at different levels. I think this is really important, and I'm really very, very happy to hear about it, to learn about it, and to see it put into place. Thanks again.
Thank you, Ms. Dunn. Ms. Millman?
So if I'm not mistaken, this is as a result of the Peabody Promise Task Force selection of this. So this is one of the things, kind of quick change brought in and already started, which I think is commendable and great to see. And that one particular slide that had the 3 columns, those first 2, and seeing components of it actually on there, and the positive behavior supports and all of those pieces, I think is fantastic. And I think people should know that this is rolling out. Again, things take a little bit of time. When I saw 2027, I'm like, oh, but things take time. So I just have the question just about data collection. And if we are taking some of the, and maybe some of this is actually easier to do because we already take data on things like truancy or tardiness or complaints or different things that come in. If we're taking that data and then see what happens as we roll this out even further. And I just, to be in all fairness, to just say that when you implement something that includes informing, sometimes all of a sudden everybody wants to fill out a form and be informed. So numbers on certain things like bullying could rise actually in the district because finally people are aware of where they were saying they weren't. They're going to be aware now. So we may see actually an increase of reporting. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's an awareness. It's an increase of being aware how to report from all levels. And so we may actually see an increase. Is there other components of Wayfinder that have the ability to collect data to see how things are in a wave of change?
There's a whole component called waypoints, so there's formative and summative data that we're really just getting into with our Wayfinder trainers, but counselors have access to all of the students in their school, and so they're able to identify if it's a small group of students or an individual student they're working with, the standard or skill that the student is struggling with, and then they can identify certain lessons and activities for them to participate in through a pre and a post test, through looking at the data that way. At this point, that's as far as we have really taken it. The counselors were incredibly enthusiastic and excited to take it beyond that, and so we're in the process of training 3 with them, knowing that they'll be the ones that are utilizing those assessments the most.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Millman. Mr. Amico?
Great, thank you for the chair. Very quickly, thank you, Ms. Finn, again for this. This is great. Yeah, this is. I've used this platform. It's building relationships. Yeah. I mean, this is what it's all about. You know, we talk about students not having resources, students not knowing where to go. You know, teaching math, English, social studies, science, that's one thing. But when you have students in front of you and you get to have that small talk, or you get to run a lesson or a game or an activity through this Wayfinder, that's what it's about. So thank you so much. This is a hit. Thank you to Peabody Federation, Fed Education System. It will work because it gets small groups together with a staff member, and that's what we need. We need collaboration and we need communication between the two. So, excellent.
Thank you, Mr. Amico. Okay. Oh, Mrs. Dunn.
Thank you again, Mr. Mayor. I would actually like to thank Dr. Chase and Dr. Vidala and our staff, because timing is everything. So this year we do have Wayfinder, and it's wonderful, and a lot of pieces came together with funding, and unfortunately we had a tragic incident which really pointed out the need for this. But I will say the staff had been working for a long time
on researching the various programs that they needed and wanted, and they were preparing to come to us for the funding for program, and they were trying to find something that was going to work with K through 12. So while it may seem like this miraculously appeared, because we miraculously had the very generous support of the Peabody Ed Foundation, this did not happen overnight. This has been ongoing and was going on last year and possibly the year before that. The amount of research that went into bringing this program forward. So I want to say thank you for laying all the groundwork and being ready to be able to have this program take off, to give the PD this January. But I don't want people to think that it happened overnight. It didn't. There was a lot of back work done to get this ready. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Dunn. Any other comments or questions? All right. Thank you, Ms. Finn. I appreciate your work. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes the superintendent's report.
Okay. All right, next item is public participation. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to come forward and speak? Afford you that opportunity now. Seeing no one, is there anyone that has joined us remotely that would like to enter?
Seeing none online.
Okay. Okay, written communications. There are none listed on the agenda. However, there were two written communications that we spoke about today that I do ask for a vote on. One is the subcommittee assignment that is actually going to be in the new business, number 2. And also, the second written communication is the FY27 budget update document that was provided during the superintendent's report. Could we receive those, Mrs. Dunn?
Motion to receive.
Okay. Seconded by Mr. Olympio. All right, so the motion is to receive the two written communications that were presented to us today, or in our packet, is the subcommittee assignments and the FY27 budget update documents. All in favor of that receipt?
Yep.
I don't think we need a roll call on that. Thank you. Okay, subcommittee reports. I'm going to hold off on all subcommittees except for Finance Subcommittee until we have the discussion under new business. But we do have a Finance Subcommittee we need a report on. Mr. Olympio, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve the MOU of the AFSCME bargaining unit.
Second.
Second, you've heard the motion by Mr. Olympio, seconded by Mr. Amico. Any discussion, questions on the motion? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Dunn?
Yes.
Mr. Olympio?
Yes.
Ms. Millman?
Yes.
Mrs. Carpenter? Mrs. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Amico?
All right, thank you. Next item is, we'll go to new business. And we do have two items under new business. The first one is scholarship. Mr. Amico, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. Through the chair. I mentioned this at our last meeting. There will be a scholarship started for Mary Ellen Hamill and Jack Hamill. The contact person is Mary Theo, and there's going to be an event. And again, this is important. Mary Ellen was a beloved woman in our Peabody community, teacher at Passos and at the South School, and she tragically passed away a few months ago on actually her son Jack's anniversary of passing away at the age of 21. So a friend of ours, Mary Theo, is running a fundraiser for the scholarship. It's a great cause. It'll be held at the Wardhurst Restaurant right up the street. There'll be a light buffet and cash bar, raffles, and that date is March 25th at 6 p.m. And you can reach out to marytheo@gmail.com or on social media. You could also contact the mayor's office or Dr. Vidala's office. Again, this is for a teacher, and the fundraiser and the money will go to students who are going to colleges, right? So just wanted to pass that along. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Amico. Next item is the subcommittee assignments. I want to touch on a few items during this report and open it up for discussion. I presented the 2026 Peabody School Committee assignments. You will see first that there are a reduction in some of the subcommittees. I feel like some we can put on hold, bring back if we need to under a vote. But I really wanted to kind of take this opportunity to condense some committees. I felt they'd be more effective that way, and it made sense through some consolidation. So in fact, of the subcommittees that I presented, education, finance, school safety, athletics and wellness, as part of athletics and wellness, and I do want to open this up for further discussion in the future, but under athletics and wellness would be athletics, performing arts, and wellness would be there. Then quality and standards, building and grounds, those 6 core committees. We'd have the liaison to the city council and legislative delegation, Mrs. Carpenter. Liaison to the parent and student advisory board would be Beverly, Ms. Dunn, excuse me. And then the liaison to special education parent advisory council would be Ms. Millman. And that would be under education. There were some compelling arguments or compelling points made to that, and I do think that is the way to go moving forward. Again, all of this is open for discussion as we move along. There's been a proposal made by Ms. Millman on a subcommittee that I think is excellent, that I wanted to turn it over to her in a moment. But I wanted to take this moment to present the subcommittees, to present some of my reasoning for them. I also think that we need to review our bylaws that about in 2024, I believe, we made some changes and added some. I think we should take the opportunity either through the new subcommittee that I hope will be formed or some other committee. But I do think we need some further discussion and debate regarding our subcommittees. I think this is the perfect opportunity to do that through some information that's been discussed in the past, but also some new information that's come forward very recently that I think would be very helpful to us, and look at that opportunity again to make sure that we have the subcommittees properly set up, the deliverables that come from them, and I just think that's appropriate. So with that, I think I want to turn it over to Ms. Millman for her proposal, but also I think this should be a work in progress where through whatever committee, I think it's probably a good idea to put it in the new committee that hopefully will be formed shortly to further look at our subcommittees. And I'm going to take a very active role in that as well. But I think this is a moment that we could really kind of tighten things up and make it more efficient and more workable. So with that, I'm certainly answer any questions. This was very difficult this year. In fact, this was my hardest year putting the subcommittee assignments together because a lot of you asked for the same subcommittees, which was I was hoping that was not going to work out that way, but it did. And this will be for this year. I anticipate 2027. There'll be some changes and some new chairs and things of that nature. But I tried to do the best I can. This was a little more difficult, as I said, than I expected. But this will be a working document. So if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer any on this specifically. Before we go to Ms. Millman, anything that I can touch on? All right. Thank you for that. And Ms. Millman, I'll turn it over to you.
Yep. Before that, I do have a question just relative to the athletics and wellness and performing arts one. Just more out of looking at the wide variety of things that we do have within the community, was wondering if it made more sense of connecting that with and maybe shifting and moving, and maybe that's part of this whole thing, is having a discussion about it, but looking at an extracurricular in general, an extracurricular subcommittee that has a connection with these, because I consider athletics extracurricular, wellness, maybe not so much, and that involves PE and nutrition and things like that, so maybe a divide there, but athletics is, performing arts is, I think we have robotics and we have a multitude of things that I think could fall under something. To have some reference and connection with school committee would be incredibly useful. So I'm just kind of opening up also and kind of asking the question of where the athletics, performing arts is there, but other things that are extracurricular and not necessarily district-wide. I mean, we don't have performing arts, sadly, at the elementary level, but we do have different things of athletics happening at different levels, and I guess I just kind of open it up of having it as an extracurricular. Maybe we need to put the wellness that includes PE or I'm assuming it includes, I don't quite know, I don't have descriptions, but the phys ed and nutrition as something different.
All good points, and I'm very much open to all of that, and I think that should be definitely part of our discussion going forward. I put it this way for now because I did feel like we needed to consolidate some of the subcommittees, and I wanted to make sure, at least for now, everything had a spot that was already in a subcommittee. Does that make sense? So I think moving forward, we can have that discussion and debate. I think that's warranted, and we should do that. So I'd like to hold that thought until maybe the next round, or the next step we take.
And
Is everybody comfortable with that?
Yep, and athletics and wellness is required by law.
Athletics and wellness required by law, okay. So those are things too also. So I think a review of state mandated subcommittees, a review of our own subcommittees to make sure again that it makes sense and things are covered appropriately and just the right way to do it moving forward. So let's hold that, but I think those are good points.
Thank you.
So I'll turn it over to you.
Sure. So what I was thinking about based on my very short time here at the school committee, but having been an observer on the outside previously, is creating a subcommittee that is of district organization and structure. And within the context of that, there would be the opportunity to be responsive to the city council that had been an issue last year and things had come into question about how the district was structured and whether things were top-heavy or not top-heavy, and the same as the public asking similar things. If we had a look and an ability to work with Dr. Vidal as school committee and look at our organizational chart or revisit our current organizational chart and look at the structure and look at these things so that coming into budget season we also can look very clearly at the job descriptions, something that we can look at, as well as looking at some of the subcommittees again and putting that same as Mr. Chairperson you said, of looking at things in our bylaws and our subcommittees and kind of the structure in which we're doing things to then be able to operate smoothly and with a greater level of transparency of being able to present these things, understand these things, and have a subcommittee that can works towards presenting it and making recommendations on those structures. And some of this would be also inclusive of where we hold things within our committee, whether the structure is how do we, what is created for us to hold our own policies and procedures, what we could utilize to do that and to make that more efficient and more accessible for the community on whole. That could be a part also of the structure and organization, and taking a look at that and making recommendations to the full committee of what can we do to make things work smoothly, better, and with more transparency.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Millman. I did want to state that I think this is a good idea. I support this effort fully. I think this could help on a variety of levels, both for our own internal workings, but also so people have a better understanding of what our structure is. Because I think there were some good points raised that I think will help us on a number of levels. So I think this is a great proposal, and I support it, and hopefully we can move forward and start addressing some of these. So. Open that up for discussion. Mr. Amico?
Thank you, through the chair. Thank you, Ms. Millman, for bringing this up. I think it's a great idea, I really do. And I know it did come up last year during budget season, and when it did come up, I did a little research, so I would hope that Dr. Vidal, you bring some of the, maybe do some research into surrounding towns and cities in their structure, and I think that will help us compile our groupings. But thank you very much. I think it's a great idea.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Miko. Any other comments or questions? Mrs. Dunn?
Just a couple of concerns. I would like to see exactly what is being proposed, the extent of that new subcommittee. One thing that I am thinking, if it's to realign the structure of our district or anything like that, that it would probably need to be an ad hoc committee and not an ongoing committee. It also has to be respectful of the fact that we hire the superintendent, but it is his prerogative as to how the district basically how the employees operate. So his input is absolutely critical to that subcommittee's work. They can advise, but ultimately it is up to the superintendent. We are not allowed to micromanage. That is one of our responsibilities and roles as school committee members, and we need to be cognizant of that fact. The other thing that concerns me is taking the bylaws out of the policy discussion. I will say we have recently, well, probably 2 years ago, reviewed the bylaws as part of the project that we've had ongoing to review all of our policies. And I know Mr. Olympio was involved at that point. I think Mr. Swanson was on the committee when we were doing that work. Because I would like to correct a perception that was given that we constantly review policy, we bring policies forward, we do work on the policies. The statement that our policies haven't been reviewed in over 20 years was rather insulting, to be perfectly honest, because some of them have stood for 20 years because they are still valid. And just so everyone knows, we have had an ongoing project with Ms. Maccarelli to update our policy manual and to go through with the policy subcommittee each division of the policies to update them and to make sure that they are current, and some are not. It's a work in progress, it always is. It is ongoing. So I did want to put that out there as well. So I am concerned about taking the bylaws out of the policy because it's just another part of our policy. There are different things that we can do for the school committee itself, and our bylaws do govern what we work on, but it is, again, part of our policy. And as the two new members know, you saw on Saturday, and I'm very proud of them for attending the Charting the Course, but policy is not just contained in our policy manual, it is throughout all of our work. And this is just one part of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunn. And yeah, I hope, I'm sorry if I misspoke. Certainly the bylaws are policy, and that has to be voted on and discussed. I was just thinking specifically to the subcommittees at this point that might be a good topic to take up in the reorganization and structure. But again, this is a vote all of us would have to take. Yeah. But I thought that would be a good spot for it. But again, respecting the quality and standards subcommittee, I know the importance of that work.
And I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, if you're talking about that one policy.
That's what I was thinking.
That lists up subcommittees.
That's what I was thinking.
I have no issue with that.
Yeah, I was just thinking that would be a good topic for discussion and debate there. And I kind of look at this subcommittee as well as advisory. This would be something that would be an advisory committee. Information is gathered, discussed, debated, and then recommendations and would come forward to the committee. And ultimately, if there was a policy change, that would have to be voted on by, in the appropriate way, under our bylaws. So that's kind of what I was thinking. I didn't want to speak on your behalf, Ms. Milman. I was looking, this would, to me, would be an advisory committee and make recommendations or have discuss different thoughts. And Dr. Vidal, certainly you please weigh in if you'd like to, but is that kind of how you were thinking this as well, Ms. Milman?
Yeah, absolutely. And this is not to usurp any other committee's role, for sure. But it's also to make clear what are the committees and the committee's roles, because that's not necessarily clear. And I think that is a piece of probably a point of interest and understanding. And again, it's only advisory, as you were saying, and it's not going to do policy work. That if that's how you took that, that's not what we were meant. So I'm sorry you took it that way. That is not what it's meant. It's not to usurp of doing the work of the quality and standards that traditionally that has been a policy subcommittee. It's not to do that at all.
All right, thank you. Yep, Ms. Cox?
Yeah, just going off, I think something that, as a newcomer to the committee, I think something like this, having that organization, allowing a better like flow of where we can find the information, how we can find it, all the like that, even for public, our open meeting, you know, making sure that we're following our open meeting law with our subcommittees, having a place where all of our minutes and our agendas are for our subcommittees that's easily accessible, I think all kind of can align within this subcommittee, and I think it will just streamline it and make it a little more accessible across the board.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Amico?
Very quickly, and when I had mentioned to Dr. Vidala to check out other communities, and to Ms. Dunn's point, not to nitpick or to tell him this is his, you know, he needs to organize his district, and he's in charge of those employees. What I was saying is, by looking at other districts, as I did during budget season last year, you know, you look 2 miles east of here, and you'll blush at the organizational numbers that Salem has and how many people they have working. And I know I've been critical of how many people we have in management or whatever, but you know, after doing some research, I've seen that we are way behind when it comes to numbers in some other districts. Not way behind, but in a sense that they have way more than we do. And it's a quick Google search. Check out Salem, check out some other districts nearby, like-minded size of our district, or even smaller. They have a lot more employees in that organizational chart. So I welcome this, and I think this will help us maybe even grow something or make it more efficient. But thank you.
Okay, so could I ask the motion be made to create, what did we call it, Ms. Millman? It was going to be the district and organizational structure?
Yes, district and organizational structure.
I'd ask for a motion to be made to authorize and allow for that subcommittee to be formed and to move forward.
Second.
I guess, Ms. Millman, you made
Make
the
a
motion?
motion to-
Do we have a second?
Make a motion to create district organizational structure subcommittee.
Do we have a second on the motion?
I think Mr. Amico did.
Seconded by Mr. Amico on the motion. Mr. Dunn, did you have a comment or question?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'd really like to see a more thorough description of what it is. That's all. So I'd like to wait and see exactly what its mission is.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Dunn.
Point
Ms. Millman?
taken. I think that has been a point of interest and difficulty in recognizing what each subcommittee's mission and is. We don't have that, and I think that would be something we would be looking to do for all of the subcommittees. So suffice to say, this would be, as it stands, district structure and organization, looking at the structures of the district on whole. That would lend itself to various budget transparency and information when we look at that, which would be one piece of it, would be looking and creating the organizational chart. It would be also be looking at our subcommittees themselves, what their mission is. I know that currently in our current bylaws, while it says, for example, standing committee, there is a standing committee that right next to it says ad hoc. And so it doesn't even make sense, technically, legally speaking. So we would be looking at, part of that is for each and every committee to have a short description of what it is, and that would be a piece of it. So I'm hopeful, and I know that, and as I spoke with both the mayor and Dr. Vidala, that maybe there's some more that your thoughts were around it to help Ms. Dunn kind of see where this is and what the ideas were, which would include description of all committees, subcommittees.
Thank you. All right. Well, we do have a motion on the floor. It's been seconded, so if there's no further discussion, I would open up for a vote. Roll call vote, please.
Mrs. Dunn?
Yes.
Mr. Olympio?
Yes.
Ms. Millman?
Yes.
Mrs. Carpenter?
Yes.
Mrs. Cox?
Yes.
Mr. Amico?
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. We had a great meeting tonight. A lot of important items were discussed, a lot of important content. So next meeting is Tuesday, February 10th, 2026, 7 p.m. right here at the Higgins Middle School Library. Any items for the agenda, please submit those to Dr. Vidala and I, at least by that Friday before the Tuesday meeting. All right. Motion to adjourn, all in favor? Thank you, everyone.